First, a thought on this portion of Matthew chapter 17, and then a thought on the Reese Chronological Bible and what's occurred in the last couple of readings. First off, this is really neat. Now, not to miss the point of what's being done here and what has happened. I mean, there's a lot that occurs in this little bitty passage that I just read. So we don't want to miss that. You know, sometimes we get off the point by even something like I'm going to suggest. And I don't want to get you off the point. Although there may be a spiritual lesson to learn even in the backstory of this. There's a backstory to lots of things in the Bible, and then there's no follow-through with how it all ends up. Here's one example. The woman with the widow's mite. How did she get into the position where she basically only had 2 mites to her name? And then she's used as an example by Christ. So then what happened? You think she died of starvation? No, I don't believe so. We'll have to wait till we get to heaven to see how that one ended up. But then this one. Do you think that Jesus just produced a piece of money and said, look, go cast your hook into the sea and then take up the fish that first cometh up? And when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. Do you think that Jesus just made a piece of money appear in that fish's mouth? Or do you think that piece of money has already existed in somebody's pocket and they lost it? I like to think the latter. Because if Jesus is just going to produce a coin, he could just say, now I wish I had a coin. I could just say, look in my hand. Boink, there's a coin. Or look in your hand. Oh my, how'd that get there? See, it'd make the point better if I had a coin in my hand, but I don't. So, look, it's a business card. Okay. Look, in your hand, it's a pocket testament. Oh, okay. No, I think somebody's going along and they lose the coin. And then Jesus uses that as an illustration. You think the person who lost the coin, for the biblical example that was used, was reimbursed that coin? Yes, I do believe so, but we don't know who that was. So anyway, but not to get off the point. This is very curious. I got to admit, I don't fully understand this. You know, I mean, he says, of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? And they said, of their children or of strangers? And then he says, of strangers. And he said, then are the children free? So there's a big spiritual lesson here. The Lord just hasn't revealed it to me, and it's probably so super simple that I'll be embarrassed. But if you know what that is, feel free to comment in the comment section below. Now here's the deal with the Reese Chronological Bible. I spoke with Scotty Bachhaus about this one right here. We just read in one of our last readings here. I suggested, you know, this should stop here. And then this should be put over in the next section, over here, just before verse 44 here. Because the story is basically ended here when it says here that and Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit and healed the child and delivered him again to his father. End of story. Now this does carry on. They were all amazed at the mighty power of God from that work. But then the way this reads here, but while they wondered every one at all things which Jesus did, he said unto his disciples, and then I was like, okay, whoops. You'll hear that in the reading previous, which was part 880 of the Reese Chronological Bible, and how I scurried around to find, okay, where's the rest of that? Okay, there it is, and then I read the rest there. Well, I saw this one beforehand, okay, when I read this chunk here, from In Capernaum, Jesus gives tribute money. Then you get down to Mark 9, it does the same kind of thing. You know, this should be down here. So that's how I'm going to read it in the next reading. I'm also going to make a suggestion for the second edition of the Reese Chronological Bible. When you pick yourself up a copy when that comes out, late 2012, and you see that this is moved down here, well, you know who to give credit to. No, I'm just kidding. Now, actually, Scotty Bachhaus said that they would put that verse 43 before this one. And, in fact, he did it while I was on the phone. And then this one. And if there's anything that you ever notice, hey, this is all the more reason for you to point it out, because I know the guy who's editing the second edition. And if it's credible, thing to be done, then pass along your ideas, okay? Part 883 coming up, and we'll read down to here, then we'll have to jump back up to there, and so on. You'll see.